Hello, welcome to Inglés al Instante. Today we're gonna have a different thing. I'm going to read a short story. Bienvenidos a Inglés al Instante. Hoy vamos a hacer algo diferente. Les voy a leer un cuento. The title of the short story is The Big Bag Mistake, and it is from John Escott. Entonces, el título se llama The Big Bag Mistake y se los voy a leer y es del autor John Escott. Es un nivel principiante. This is a beginner level, so you're not going to have any problems. And most of the sentences are in present tenses. Bueno, no van a tener problema porque el nivel es de principiantes y la mayoría de las oraciones están en presente, en diferentes tiempos verbales de presente. And don't forget to listen 3 times. The first time, you just listen if you want to put headphones and close your eyes. La primera vez que lo escuchen, si quieren ponerse auriculares y cerrar los ojos. Second time you listen, it's a good thing for you to see the pictures. La segunda vez que lo escuches es algo muy bueno que veas las imágenes. And the third time you listen, you can activate the subtitles in English, of course. Y la tercera vez puedes activar los subtítulos en inglés. Let's go. ¿Vamos?
Gisela is going home to Rio de Janeiro after a month's vacation in London. She lives in an apartment in Rio with 2 friends. Her airplane leaves at 5 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock now. Gisela puts her clothes and the manuscript into a travel bag. This manuscript is very important to her. She is writing her first book. Ricardo is a student. He lives in Rio de Janeiro. After 2 months in England, he is going home. He finds his seat on the airplane. A pretty girl is sitting in the seat near him. "Hi," Ricardo says to the girl. He smiles at her. Gisela looks up, but she doesn't smile. "Hello," she says, and she looks down at her book again. Suddenly, Ricardo's bag falls onto the girl. It knocks the book from her hands. "Oh," Gisela says. "Sorry," Ricardo says. "I'm sorry." He quickly gets her book from the floor and looks at it. "Interesting," he says. "Here you are." "Thank you," she says. She's annoyed. "My name's Ricardo," Ricardo says. Gisela looks at him. "Is it?" she says. Then she looks at her book again. "What's your name?" he asks. Gisela doesn't look up from her book this time. "Gisela," she says. "That's a pretty name," Ricardo says. Ricardo is talking about his time in England. "I like London," he says. "I like the noise, the lights, the people, the red buses. Do you like London, Gisela? Do you like England?" Gisela puts down her book and sighs. "Yes," she says. "I like London, I like England, and I like quiet people." Later, there is a movie. Ricardo is watching the movie. But after a time he sleeps. Very slowly, his head falls onto Gisela's shoulder. Gisela looks at Ricardo and sighs. I don't want his head on my shoulder, she thinks. But he is quiet now. She thinks about her manuscript. I can finish the story in Rio, she thinks. Many hours later, the airplane arrives at Rio de Janeiro airport. Gisela and Ricardo go into the building and wait for their bags. Gisela's bag is blue. Suddenly, she sees a blue travel bag. Here it is, she thinks. Good, now I can go, and Ricardo can't follow me. She quickly takes the bag and leaves the airport. Ricardo watches Gisela. Wait for me, Gisela, he thinks. But he doesn't have his bag. He can't leave the airport. Then, suddenly, he sees a blue travel bag. That's my bag, he thinks. Maybe I can catch Gisela. He quickly takes the blue bag and runs from the airport into the street. And there is Gisela, on a bus. Wait, Ricardo calls. He runs after the bus, but the bus doesn't stop for him. Gisela sees Ricardo from the window of the bus and she smiles. But now Ricardo is looking down at the blue bag. Something's wrong, he thinks. The bus is very hot and Gisela's eyes close. She sleeps after the long journey from London. A man on the bus is looking at the blue travel bag. Maybe there's money in that bag or some expensive clothes, he thinks. The bus is stopping now. Quickly, the man takes the bag and runs. The bus stops and Gisela opens her eyes. Then the bus moves again and she sees the man. He is running down the street with the blue bag. Stop! Stop the bus! Gisela says. That man has my bag. The bus stops again and Gisela runs after the man. But where is he? Gisela runs up and down the streets of Rio, but she can't see the thief. She's angry and unhappy. My manuscript, she thinks. It's in that bag. Months and months of work. What can I do now? I can't start again. Then, slowly, Gisela walks home to her apartment building. Ricardo is waiting for her at the door. What do you want, Ricardo? Gisela says. Oh, is that my bag? Ricardo smiles. I have your bag and you have... He stops. Where is it? Where's my bag? Your bag, Gisela says. Oh, I'm sorry. A thief has your bag. The thief is looking at the things in Ricardo's bag. He doesn't understand. They aren't the clothes of a pretty young woman. What's this? He thinks. Dirty shirts, dirty old jeans. He looks for some money or an expensive dress, but he doesn't find them. He leaves the clothes in the street and walks away. I have my manuscript, Gisela says. Thank you. Ricardo laughs. And the thief can have my old shirts and jeans, he says. A big mistake. She smiles at him. A lucky mistake for me, she says. But how How do I know your address? Ricardo says, it's on the label. You read books, Gisela. I read labels.